Here. What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. It is March 16th. It's 316 day. Oh, heck yeah. I'm Gun. Twitter.com/Gunbacker. And today on this stream, we are going to be talking about a massive, huge, ginormous, humongous, I'm out of adjectives to describe big stuff. Big time slate tonight. 12 games on the NBA docket. So far, not as much news as we thought. Usually these big time slates, we get big usage guys out or values, something like that popping up. Not the case. However, we kind of can compensate for the lack of outs with big totals, a couple 240 totals, a couple of high energy spots. So we're going to be driving through these PrizePicks streets and hopefully walking away with some big time plays, because the last couple days have been really nice for PrizePicks and us in the prop detector streets. What's up, Josh? You ready to talk props? I've kind of had you in your cage where you couldn't talk about what props you like as much and as in depth as you could have. By the way, chat, if you guys are out there and you haven't seen them, Josh has put up first look videos the last 2 days. Looks like those are being well received, so we'll see those grow hopefully in the final month of basketball. And if you guys are looking for something to watch in the morning, they're actually kind of short. The goal is to get to 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but they're kind of short. So 5-6 minutes. I mean, that's a simple video to watch. Add to your mix for some sharp takes early in the morning. But what's up, Josh? Man, you ready for? You ready for the marathon? Just started. It's just now getting thick. We are an hour before the pre-lock voice chat and RunDFS.com NBA VIP Discord, and then of course even at lock when the first game tips, the work is not really done. I guess the good thing is tomorrow just one game, so essentially it's a day off. So it's just like, hey, we got to do the work. Got to do that Friday night work on a Wednesday and go from there. But are you excited for this slate?
I am, because we have that break tomorrow because it's one game. So, like you said, we're gonna go big tonight. So let's do it.
Go big or go home. Shout out to the live chat. Julio released. Julio got released. Julio Jones.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? Right before I went off the air on the other show, I saw that Zach Greinke going back to the Royals. So maybe Kaufman Park will keep him safe, because his hard contact rate, especially to righties, that's going to give me so much trouble. But shout out to the live chat. Chris Smith, Parker Douglas, Sir Spencer, the King Skimmer says we need some more winners. 5 stone cold locks of the day. What?
I wish we could give him right now, but so much is pending on that Embiid news.
Yeah, Embiid definitely being the linchpin of the slate right now. Birthday Embiid too, right? We were excited for that. Now he may not play.
I mean, I would just jump on birthday Harden if Embiid's out. Make it his birthday.
Birthday strip club Harden.
Yeah. The 76ers made the today during warmups. They made all of the players wear this Embiid shirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Twitter if you want to check it out. But it's a stupid looking shirt with this like Embiid picture where he's making this face. It must be some inside joke they have.
Fish fan in the chat, Dylan Boyd, Mike Haberman, Hunter, Mockwall says month going fast for anyone else. Does feel like it's flying by, but hopefully it just means we're getting to baseball faster. Neville in the chat, E made it happen. Vince Jefferson, Emerson's baby gap shirt, CEH, bring Julio to Indy. Maybe. What up, Logan? Chris says watch them all. I appreciate that, Chris. I think you're a real one. You're the realest of the realest ones. Assuming that you've already hit that thumbs up, because only real ones can hit the thumbs up. So if you fake, you can't do it. You might want to check, see if you can click it. What up, Links? Hateronzo in the chat. Embiid's birthday, is he playing tonight? Yeah, Paul, we don't know. He was a midday Q. Certainly would change the scenery quite a bit in terms of what we're targeting now for DFS, but for prop shopping as well. Need all the help I can get. Yep. What up, Steve Leibowitz? Hey, we're gonna do the prop detector in the YouTube membership for today. So anyone that's a YouTube member and wants the kind of the final draft of the prop detector that we do have behind the paywall at RunDFS.com, decided maybe twice a week we find the big slates, we throw the prop detector up. So if you are a member of the channel but not a member of RunDFS.com, a little bit of a thank you there. So get in that free Discord. The link to that is in the description below. And then when you're in that, link your Discord account with your YouTube account, like our friend did during the last show, is our boy Tone Loke. And when you do that, you'll unlock this channel. We don't have that many people that have done this process. Right now, only 2 of you guys that are members on the channel and also linked to Discord. But if you're looking for a little something extra for supporting the channel, it's another way we're trying to say thank you. So today we will be posting a screenshot of the prop detector in the YouTube member NBA thing here. So it would be here.
You're gonna do it tomorrow too, or on Friday? Is that like a 10-game slate?
Yeah, I was thinking twice a week, the big slate. So
yeah,
today and Friday, I guess makes sense. And then when baseball gets here, I'll probably do some with the bomb detector. Yeah. So go check that out, chat. All right, let's talk real quick here. Let's pull up the PrizePicks board, see what we might get behind. Yeah. And go from there. So
how do you want to do this? You want to go game by game, or it's too big, or just pick? Let's go through our favorite ones.
Let's stop on the games of interest, right? Like we don't really care about Nuggets and Wizards, right? So we just a couple games. The Sixers at the Cavs. So we don't know for sure if Joel Embiid's going to play. It was a midday Q. If he doesn't play, we want everything James Harden. And I think we probably take some maxi point props. And those are probably live no matter what. But James Harden, everything is in play. But it's not something we can get behind this far out, or not something that like. It would be especially better now than before if Embiid played. But right now they have Harden at 9.5 assists, which would be something that probably moves to like 10.5 or something like that if Embiid gets rolled out. And of course his real points, all that stuff is live, but we don't know for sure. So I think we focus on what we do know out of this game, and that's going to be on the Cavs side, and that's going to be Darius Garland. You kind of closed out today's video with a big emphasis on Darius Garland as one of our favorite spots to target tonight. If Embiid is out, not only does it kind of make the defensive metrics of the Sixers a little bit more porous, but it also it makes the game more competitive, I would say. I don't think the Sixers get blown out here, but it certainly bodes well for the competitiveness. And then also if Garland overlaps with Harden a little bit more, I'm fine with that. What we're going to do here for this exercise, let's move the date range to, let's start from February 1st for all of our sample size on this stream. And use that as our sample size for a couple of the queries that we want to run. And for this Garland one, we want to take off Jared Allen. We want to take off Rajon Rondo, who is out. We also want to take off Karis LeVert. And because it's since February 1, I don't think we have to worry about Rubio and Colin Sexton and people like that. So Allen, Rondo, and LeVert off the court for the Cavaliers, and then we'll put. I guess we could put Mobley on the court just for the heck of it, and get the numbers from NBA Wowie. We're going to be looking at usage, but more importantly, we're going to be looking at assist percentage. And the assist percentage for Darius Garland in this split is 42.7%. That's nuts. That's insane. That's literally crazy, and it's incredible. So you do feel like anything lower than 10 based on that number seems like a very viable hit. He has smoked 8.5 in all but one of his last couple games. That one game came against a Bulls defense that saw the return of Alex Caruso, right? And then I would assume a solid guard defender. So I think this 8.5 assists is so soft that it's going to be probably one of our core plays tonight. Get it while you can get it. I could certainly see this moving up to 9.5 by the time the game tips off. We tend to see some movement the 2 hours preceding. So I could see this turning into 9 real soon. So Garland assist is what I like. And then in that last game, we actually saw Lamar Stevens draw the start for the Cavs. We saw it. Wait, LeVert's in, ain't he? Huh? I guess I'm still fine with Garland assist prop. But yeah. I don't know why in my head I thought LeVert was out. Let me take off LeVert from this thing here. As long as LeVert, would they put LeVert in the starting lineup?
No. Last game they ran him off the. He ran the second unit.
Okay. Yeah. If I open that up, it's still around 40%. So I'm fine with Garland's assist prop no matter what. And then without Jared Allen, we've seen a couple different lineups. We've seen one that started Dean Wade. We've seen one that started Kevin Love, and then we've seen one that started Lamar Stevens. So if we get the lineup that doesn't start Kevin Love, I think we're fine with looking at Evan Mobley if Joel Embiid is out as well. Embiid is somebody that draws just an insane amount of fouls that I would probably stay away from anyone that might be up against him. But if Embiid does get rolled out, I'd be looking at Mobley fantasy points and maybe some of those rebound props. But I think Darius Garland assists is what I have from this far out now. And then after the Embiid news, I'm sure they're going to take everything off, but I'd be fine with just jamming in a lot of Harden props, whether it be real points. You can see him hit 30-plus real points, and maybe even those assists as well. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I like assist prop. I mean, you could still go with Harden's 9.5 assists, even though we don't have the Embiid news, because even if Embiid plays, that's still live in this matchup. I mean, you have the second leading overall assist guy in Harden on the season, with a 40% assist rate. So 9.5, I think is too low as well, as the 8.5 for Garland. Both these guys are just assist monsters, so I think they should be 10 plus. The line should be around 10 plus for their assist props. And then so let's assume that Embiid is out. Do we like Maxi's point prop the most, or his fantasy point? So his fantasy point prop is 26. Right now, you currently have him at 34 projected. I assume once Embiid gets ruled out and you re-crunch this and sweep projections, that's going to push near 40 fantasy points, right? And, PrizePicks will probably bump his fantasy point up a little bit, but if it doesn't go above 30, I mean, and he's going to play almost 40 minutes, 38 minutes, what are you leaning, real points or fantasy? Let's say his real points gets juiced to like 19.5 or 20.
If it gets to 19.5, 20, then yeah, the fantasy points. If the fantasy points is going to be closer to 30, because I'm sure, like you said, that 34 turns into something higher. The minutes are so nice for him right now, and he's not known as a defensive guy, but he does get you almost a steal per game and half a block per game. And against the Cavs, you can fall into a steal here and there with Garland's turnover rate. So I would probably go after the fantasy points if that's the scenario we're waiting on. If we didn't, if we thought that the midday queue is closer to out anyway for Embiid, I think his point prop is live no matter what. I think that Brooklyn game, they just absolutely got run out the gym. Orlando, whatever. I think the shot volume has been there, and we've talked about how Maxey has and Embiid have talked about how Harden create shots for them that they never had before, and it's a lot more open looks. Double-digit shot attempts for Maxey is a very, very realistic range of outcomes today. He's when he scores, he does score at perhaps an overly efficient rate, like 7 of 13, 7 of 14, 10 of 15. So maybe if we're expecting closer to like a 40 to 35% field goal rate, maybe it's a little too confident. But certainly without Joel Embiid could be 30 real points and go from there. And yeah, I would like Maxey. Probably would never become a core unless we absolutely had a line that we couldn't stay away from. But the minutes on Maxey right now are just way too good to look away from. And without Joel Embiid, it picks up a lot that DeAndre Jordan's not compensating for, but Tobias Harris could. So that does create a wild card. But I think Harden is the constant, and then Garland is the constant. And like I said, if we lose Embiid, I'm more interested in Mobley. But right now, Garland assist and Harden assist, right? So
yeah, those assist props are definitely live no matter what the outcome is on the injury news. And then I'm with you. If Embiid's ruled out, Mobley is definitely in play. Although Harden did go to the line 12 times in that most recent matchup. So what was that, a few days ago?
I mean, him and Embiid are just literally, they pay rent.
But I mean, the Cavs are number one in free throw allowed, least amount. So they allow the least free throws in the league. So they do keep their hands to themselves, but it's Harden and Embiid, right? They're gonna get there no matter what. So if Embiid's ruled out and they juice the assist prop to, let's say, 10.5 for Harden, are you going to lean more towards his fantasy point, or are you going to stick with the assist?
If the fantasy point is closer to 50 than anything, I'd probably take the fantasy points.
I agree. Just because of the usage, right? I mean, he's just going to dominate everything.
Yeah, I thought they'd give us that double-double prop, but that would be the perfect scenario of when I would actually want to use that on their site. But yeah, probably the fantasy points at that point.
Well, his double-double is currently up on the board, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but like now, as long as the assist is below 10, there's no point in taking the double-double. But if the double-double moved to 10.5, or excuse me, if the assist prop moved to 10.5 and the double-double is below, which it won't, they won't keep that on there.
Yeah.
But it's extra live because Harden, he's a triple-double threat. He'll get rebounds too. So probably go after the fantasy points in that.
I agree.
All right. What else we got here? We got Hawks and the Hornets. So this is two fast-paced teams. Not even fast-paced. The Hawks' pace is really not as high as you would think it is. It's their offensive efficiency, making the most out of those possessions. But it's a 241 total. So a lot of implied points, and because the Hornets run an elevated pace, we do get a couple extra possessions for the Hawks here. There is no John Collins. Gallinari is probable. Gordon Hayward out for the Hornets. The Hornets are pretty healthy, all things considered. Looking at this game, I think the three names that we walked away from earlier was Trae Young, Clint Capella, and LaMelo Ball. Trae Young, Clint Capella, and Terry Rozier was the name over LaMelo, right? With LaMelo, we're kind of indifferent on.
Too risky for prop betting right now, in my opinion.
Right, I would agree with that. But I think with Capella, what we have discussed and we've noted several times on this show is Capella is live to lose minutes down the stretch because of his very bad free throw shooting. We've seen them close out with Gallo over him. We've seen them close out with Kongu over him, and especially close out with John Collins over him if they can help it. Now, no Collins is a net positive for his chances of staying in the game. And you look back at that Pacers game, which did stay competitive. Pacers been sloppy defense and pace up, and he did close that game out over a Okongwu. So it's not always for sure going to happen, but it has certainly has a precedent for them to not close out with Capella. So when this starts to happen, I tend to kind of consider Capella at first half props, and maybe not as lucrative as the Steven Adams prop. But he's been pretty consistent in the first half, much like Steven Adams. He's at 16.5 fantasy points first half. It is the Charlotte Hornets. He's gotten you over 20 fantasy points in these 3 games prior. Could that be something you get behind? Is Clint Capella first half?
It's been a Honeywell for us this season, right? Man, last time I took a first half prop with the center against the Hornets, I got burned by foul trouble, and that was Robert Williams. And yeah, I mean, it could happen again today, right? Like LaMelo is an aggressive guard who's going to drive to the basket and draw fouls. and Capella is not immune to fouls, so
All right,
it's a dice roll for me.
Here's something. Capella actually has 3 games against the Hornets this year. Let's just look at first half. Capella FTP by game log last versus Hornets. Let's go last 5 games. I guess this wouldn't give us the true splits that we're looking at, but it would give us some dates. So we want to go look at January 23rd against the Hornets, where he had 24. So let's pull up the Hawks and go to January. So let's go to about the 5th page. 23rd, Hawks and Hornets, and look at his minutes in that game. He did play some fourth quarter there, but he played in the first quarter. He got 2 fouls in that first quarter, 6 minutes. They give you 4 points, 3 rebounds. So that'll start you off around just about 10, or it actually tells us 7.6 fantasy points in his first run, and then the second quarter run he had 2, so he had 10 fantasy points and a bunch of fouls. That was a John Collins game, so something to keep an eye on. And then December 5th would be the other game we can go back and look at. So I will say it is, if we went off that last game, it wasn't great for first half viability. But let's go check out that December 5th game.
LaMelo's a foul magnet, man.
December 5th, Hawks hosted the Hornets with a 3-point game. Clint Capella played quite a bit of first half minutes, didn't close out that game. In the first half, we got 6.8. We've got 2, so that leaves us about 9. Then we got -1 and 8. So about 16 fantasy points in the first half of that one. So it's on par with what we might expect here. I'm on the fence. My heart's telling me yes, but my body.
I'll add it to our first half, because we have a first half prop section under the detector where we list all our favorite first half props, and I'll put it under there.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's talk about Trae Young and LaMelo. So first of all, 241 total. Atlanta favored by 1, so that makes them 220 or 121 implied points. Quick math, and Trae Young is probably going to have his hand in a lot of that. So if we just look at Trae Young's involvement, just in general, since February 1st in this team, we'll pull up Trae Young on the NBA Wowie. And I guess we'll take off John Collins just since we can do that. Since February 1st, a little bit before the All-Star break, and then all these games since, Trae Young has enjoyed a usage rate of 34.7%, a 1.4 PrizePicks per minute production rate, and a 44% assist rate. So anytime you get a guy at a 40% assist rate and his assist prop is below 10, you want to take a look at that if it's a guy that plays 37 minutes, right? And Trae Young is definitely one of those. And then his usage rate being what it is, the props for Trae Young are certainly something that I'm curious to shop. He's at 29.5 real points, 10.5 assists, and a 48 fantasy score, 42.5 PRA. So I guess fantasy score feels like the best way to throw a blanket over everything. And I have him at 57 or 58 essentially PrizePicks fantasy points. So that's dang near a 10-point gap. So I do like that. And then I think this morning we were kind of talking about Trae Young's 3-point prop against the Hornets. So what are you thinking on that?
Well, I mean, the Hornets, they're in the top, 5 with most threes allowed defenses, especially against point guards. And Trae's going to chuck it, especially with John Collins out. He's going to take more threes. On the season, he's taken on average, about 8 threes a game. The last time he played the Hornets, he made 8 threes. And I went through his game logs, and when he tends to score 30-plus points, he usually makes 3 or more threes in that game. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to bet on the point prop, you could take a lower number with the 3-point prop. It seems logical. But his 3-point percentage this season is not great. It's around 38%. That's the only concern. So I have seen him in games get cold and from the 3. And so what he'll end up doing is he'll end up driving a lot and drawing a lot of fouls. So he's been getting to the foul line a lot this season, and he's been getting a lot of his points from the free throw line as well. So I'm more leaning towards his PRA. You have his PRA projected for 44. It's rare when your like projections have a PRA higher. It's usually spot on with their PRA
Yeah.
projections. So I like that almost two PRA buffer. And I really want to incorporate his assist rate as well.
I mean, if I'm over on PRA, can I talk you into this fantasy point projection that I have?
Yes, so I saw that. So you have a differential of what is it?
Like
8, 9?
Yeah, that's massive, right?
Yeah, okay. Let's switch the PRA to fantasy then, and just hope, picks up peripherals, and then I guess assists you get 1.5 per assist, right? So fantasy points. So that would make sense. Yeah, okay, I'm with you on that. Yeah, they really juiced his point prop. So it opened at 27.5 and went up to 28.5 this morning, and now it's at 29.5. So people must be clicking on him a lot, rightfully so.
Last 5 point guards against Charlotte from hold on, let me switch this to PrizePicks scoring if I can. DraftKings, FanDuel. I think you're gonna like some of these numbers. Last 5 point guards against Charlotte. SGA 37 minutes dropped 46 PrizePicks points. Devontae Graham dropped 39 PrizePicks points in 34 minutes. Marcus Smart 28-32. Kyrie dropped 65 in 38 minutes, and DeJounte Murray 57.8 PrizePicks points in 35 minutes. So 48 fantasy points, considering the context of those previous 5, their uses and their expectation for their team. 48 seems a little low for Trae Young here. So I think the Trae Young fantasy points, I'm going to jot that down. So if you're taking notes with me, so far I've got Garland assists written, Harden assists, Capella first half question mark, and then I'm going to put Trae Young FPS.
I got it all entered.
All right, cool. And I'm doing aesthetically for the viewers. All right, so do we want to take any stabs on these Hornets? I think Terry Rozier, as weird as it sounds, has become the most trustworthy Hornet game to game. Did you like anything on him to run back at?
Yeah,
because they're implied for 120 themselves.
I like running it back. I mean, Terry Rozier, I think he's really benefiting playing a lot of minutes without LaMelo on the court. And he's really active defensively, right? So his 1.5 block steal is really intriguing. But I was thinking about it some more. So he's going to get buckets, and he could get those steals. So why not just incorporate into fantasy point? But then I looked at your fantasy point projection, and you only have him at 40. So it's a 2 fantasy point buffer. A little hesitant on that on such a large slate with so many options. So they did juice his point prop. It's open at 22.5, and now it's 23.5. I'm indifferent. I can't decide between his 1.5 block steal or his point prop. What about you?
Atlanta in steals allowed per game is 4th fewest. That's actually impressive considering.
But they do allow a lot to the shooting guard position.
Okay, well, it's kind of a fluid position between him and LaMelo in terms of.
Sure.
So he has been a steal monster, 1.3 steals per game on the season. What about threes? Do we have a prop on threes? No, right?
It's high.
It's at 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, if I can't decide on one thing, I'll just go like fantasy points. But man, I lean on Terry Rozier to pick up a lot of his fantasy points via scoring. Right. So I guess his 23.5 real points would be, but I'm starting to lose conviction in my voice when I'm saying this.
Yeah.
So maybe we chill on this a little bit.
I have him in fringe right now.
Okay.
So.
Rozier since February 1 has a usage rate of 23.8% usage rate, 23% assist rate, 1.13 FanDuel fantasy points per minute. Yeah, I'd probably leave him fringe right now. I do think if we project the Hornets to live up to this 120 point total, the real points is viable for Terry Rozier. And the fantasy score I'm kind of interested in. But the blocks and steal is very fun, especially if you're just a recency bias guy. 1.5 is certainly a number he's beaten more than he hasn't lately. But I think the real points, jot it down as a fringe. So I'll put Terry Rozier points fringe. All right, cool. What else we got here? We got Nets and the Mavericks. So we know no Kyrie Irving. It's a home game. We don't know the status of Seth Curry, Cam Thomas. We know Reggie Bullock is out for the Mavericks here. So their starting lineup could be Brunson and Dinwiddie. It could be Brunson and Josh Green. I think it's going to be the Josh Green variation. They could put DFS at the 3 and start Maxi Kleber. There's a couple things that the Mavs could do. None of those really matter to me. Unless we got like interest in Dinwiddie revenge or something like that. But I think on this big of a slate, that's more of we're putting some makeup on, right? Who we getting cute for with playing Dinwiddie on a 12-game slate? So it's really Luka versus Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant without Kyrie bodes pretty well in terms of a per minute production and a usage rate. But I don't imagine that PrizePicks doesn't know that, or any site for that matter. Did they have exploitable numbers?
I think so. I mean, I was expecting Luka to be 56, 58 fantasy point like he's been, the last 2 weeks, and they have him down to 53. Doesn't that seem too low?
50, yeah, I got him at 62, so it's dang near a 10-point spread.
Yeah, we don't get that kind of spread with Luka props. I mean, with your those differentials, I mean, yours is usually 5 or 6. So, I that just seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, I would agree, and I don't know how they come up with their formula for this, and I think a lot of their props are probably just API pulling from like Pinnacle, but for fantasy points, Pinnacle doesn't do fantasy points, right? So maybe that's where there's a little bit of a hole to exploit. Under 53 against a tough defense in Boston, whatever. The Houston game was kind of lopsided. He still hit the over. New York Knicks run the slowest pace in basketball. It was a blowout. They got smoked. Utah hits, Golden State hits. I think 53, I'm in agreement with you. In life without Porzingis, man, he in competitive games, he's certainly shown us 60 plus more than he hasn't. So I guess 53 would be a line for Luka for me.
What about, this is the lowest I've seen his assist prop, and I mean his assist rate has gone down dramatically over the last 2 weeks. So 7.5 is so low. I guess it depends on the starting lineup, right? So if it's Dinwiddie, Brunson, and Luka starting, they could all cannibalize each other in terms of assist rate. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna stay away and just go after the Luka point or the Luka fantasy points.
I'm with you on that. And then so Kevin Durant, that's a big question I have. I'm in real debate. So I mentioned in the early video he has a usage rate of around 40% without Kyrie, but his assist rate goes up to 33%. I thought they were gonna juice his assist prop up to 7.5 because they had it at 6.5 yesterday with Kyrie playing. It's down to 6. That's really tempting to me. It's a low number, or do we just go with the high number and go with his fantasy score or his real point?
That's a great question. Would Seth Curry's status mean anything to you? Because here's what I would say: if Seth Curry's out,
Dragic would start,
and Dragic is one of the greatest traditional point guards in the sense that
that's a great point.
He should. You know what I mean? Like, he sets up a lot of.
When Dragic started, what game was that?
Against the Knicks. Ago, right? The Knicks.
And KD still put up 9 assists.
Yeah, and KD's gonna have so much usage. I wouldn't I'm not expecting 25 assists or whatever from Dragic, but Seth Curry and Patty Mills versus a guy like Dragic who's more likely to facilitate. Certainly is saying something, but I don't know. Let's just do the numbers that we have then. We'll put Dragic and Durant on the court and just kind of get the overall sample size. Let's see if there was any negative correlation between the two here. Dragic had a 18% assist rate, and KD still had a 31% assist rate. And then just generally speaking, since February 1, Durant on the court, Kyrie off the court, Durant has enjoyed an assist rate of 30.8% and a usage rate of 39%. But a 1.5 fantasy point per minute production. So if you got this game staying close, I know last night, and maybe buyer's remorse here, maybe this fluctuating game log because of these Kyrie spike games, the 23 against Charlotte, 37 against Orlando, maybe that's going to keep his price lower than it should be. But kind of like Luka, like how often is this game competitive? And this is a TV game, ain't it?
Yes. It is.
KD's KD, right? 49 feels a little bit low. I got him at 54, so it's not like a massive swing like some of these other lines here, but I'm probably going to lean the fantasy points if I have to sink my teeth in.
I'm with you. It's KD. I mean, he's going to fill up the stat line, and And he's going to be hungry, right? Like, he took basically the night off last night. He didn't play the fourth quarter. He just sat back and watched Kyrie do his thing. So I feel like this is his time to show he's still KD, right?
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. Yeah, he's also listed at 1.5 blocks and steals, which KD, that's kind of a thing that he does. So I don't mind that either. Any other? So I think the status of Seth Curry is not insignificant. But like the DFS show, I'm gonna drive you down Bruce Brown Boulevard. 19.5 PRA is something he has smoked over and over and over and over and over and over, with the one outlier being the Philly game where they got absolutely
he got foul trouble too.
Yeah, foul trouble, and they demolished the 76ers. Yeah. I think this is live no matter what, but if you have another scenario with no Cam Thomas, no Seth Curry, and now no Kyrie, Bruce Brown's live to play 40 minutes. He played 41 minutes against the Knicks. That went to overtime, but last night, lopsided. He still played 32 minutes, right? You said he came out there with the scrubs at one point.
He did, yeah.
So I think this PRA, as tough as it is to say, is probably a little low for Bruce Brown for this recent stretch that we've gotten out of him. So I just want to mention that. Yeah,
I agree with you. It would be mid-tier for sure.
All right, mid-tier.
In that same game, just wanted to point out, based on your projections, you have Jalen Brunson projected for 37 fantasy points. They currently have him at 26. With Reggie Bullock out, maybe some more shots for him. Are you interested? It's an 11 fantasy point differential, one of the highest on the board.
I would say if the lineup was Dinwiddie, I'm scared. If the lineup was like Josh Green, I'm a little bit more receptive. But that is one of those, we appreciate the wide range of outcomes that the past Luka that we could see was Brunson popping, Dinwiddie popping, even Davis Bertans could get in the mix here. So I do think that the projection itself is probably far too low, and it's easy to write off a down game against the Celtics and the Knicks. We talk about the Knicks game being a slow-paced blowout, and the Celtics just being the best defense in the league. So probably the more median expectation is him to excel on this 26 fantasy point projection. But it would probably be a secondary to tertiary play for me.
Okay.
But those Reggie Bullock shot attempts do matter, and
they do.
Depending on who is the person that they're going to slot in the starting lineup. It could be Josh Green. I think Josh Green started against Houston. Yeah, he did. He started power forward against Houston. That was in the absence of Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah.
So it's not 1-to-1 here, but it does show that they have enough confidence that they could start him. And we've seen DFS start at the 3 for them as well. So not impossible. And if Josh Green did start, maybe he represents a little less shot volume than maybe Reggie Bullock would, and that would increase maybe the scoring for Jalen Brunson to work in tandem to Luka. So maybe I would be a little bit more receptive there. Right now, there's enough pushback to not feel overly confident in that.
Sure.
But 26 does feel low, like really low. And, yeah, big gap between mine and his. So let's say, if it's 26 full game, do they have a first half fantasy that's like 13 for Brunson? Let's see. Brunson is at 13. Yep. Cut it in half. Quick math. He hasn't been – well, I guess we talked about how the last 2 games are kind of write-offs. I guess if we were interested in that – the first half Brunson prop might be something we look at, but I guess it's low enough that we don't have to do that to ourselves. We can play big minutes. Carlos says they don't do fantasy points, but all they do is add up the values of their stats. That's true, Monzo. They also, I think, was it free throw props that they can't really just rip from Pinnacle like that either. So,
right.
What else we got here in the slate that we might get to? Devin Booker against the Rockets, yay or nay?
So, your projection model is broken on him, and what happens when your projection model breaks? It usually comes true, right?
Yeah.
So you have him at almost 59 fantasy points. PrizePicks has him currently at 45. It's a 14-point differential. It's the highest differential besides Brandon Williams on our projection sheet, but we don't count Brandon Williams on this. So Booker is the highest, has the highest differential. I entered it all in, and I have I'll share it after the stream, but I have differential ranked ordered. with the highest differential for the players, and Booker's number 1 and Ayton's number 2. So you definitely like the model definitely likes the Suns today, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But we gotta worry about full game, right?
We do, but man, 45 is low no matter what. Like even three quarters of Booker might get us there against the Rockets. That is low. That is low. What do they know that I don't? Especially, I mean, we've already got Cameron Johnson ruled out.
I think it's just a spread, probably moving the lines down, whatever projection model.
See, 11's not even that drastic. Like it's bad. Don't get me wrong, but certainly could be worse. And if the Rockets are a little bit closer to full strength, catching a Suns on the road back to back,
sure.
45 fantasy points. That might be a core for me, man. That's kind of broken.
All right, I already have it in the top prop, so.
All right, just let me I want to double check his per minute production, but I gotta imagine it's like 1.3 to 1.4.
Oh, I mean, he's killing it. He's doing everything.
Devin Booker on. By the way, chat, over 100 of you guys hanging out. I appreciate that so much. But only 22 likes. Hit that like button, man. Show some love. Keep the vibes right. Hello, Mia Moore. How are you? I'll put Devin Booker on. We'll take Chris Paul off. Just point blank, what do we get with this split? It's got to be ridiculous. I would expect 30+% uses on Booker. Loading. 31% usage rate on Booker with a 1.4 PrizePicks fantasy point per minute rate. And even if I put Cameron Payne on the court for this split to kind of share ball handling duties, I still imagine that Devin Booker is going to win the seesaw. 27% usage, 21% assist rate, but his per minute production still over 1.4. So, yeah, this seems like kind of a busted spot for Devin Booker. That 45 just might be a core play for me as well. And last night against the Pelicans, he exceeded that 45, and that was a game that got out of control, isn't it?
It did. It was a double-digit spread by the fourth quarter.
Let's see. We go to game one. I just want to see what the rotation looked like later in the night. And we talked about no team plays tomorrow, so you can get it in there. And sometimes when teams are out here having that 60 game, they stay out there. Devin Booker didn't touch the court in the fourth quarter and still crushed it. So I think Devin Booker 45 fantasy points might be a core play for me, Josh.
Yeah, I'm with you. I trust your model, man. It always comes through when it breaks like this.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll jot that down. Nothing else from that game kind of like screaming at me. Rest of the slate, we've got T-Wolves and the Lakers. LeBron James, if he played, you talk about dealing with potential blowouts. The Vegas gave us that 9, but I think that's that sucker line to get people to continue to bet on LeBron James. Anything that you liked on PrizePicks for Lakers and T-Wolves?
D'Lo's still at 7.5 assists. They're keeping him there. So just watch out for that Pat Bev news. If he's out, I would just try to get that entered before they juice it. If they do juice it up to over 8, like we said, his assist rate goes off the charts when Pat Bev is out, and it's a great spot for him in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree with that. Beverly did play that last game. He's got this ear injury, so I imagine he's going to play against his old friend Russell Westbrook. And then
you're probably right about that. Yeah.
But if he didn't, yes, Beverly's assist rate is nutty buddy. Since February 1, D. Russ on the court with Beverly off the court has a 38% assist rate. And we actually ran a query the other day in the free Discord. D'Angelo Russell assists by game log without Patrick Beverly. Let's go last 10 games. And today the magic number right now is 7.5 so far for PrizePicks, 7.5 stair line. If you look at his assists in the last 10 games without Beverly, how many times he's cleared 7.5? Essentially every game in his last 10, and I think we can even open that up to last 15. And 7.5 is something he's only not cleared twice in the last 15 games without Patrick Beverly, and that came on the 27th in 20 minutes against Golden State, where Golden State was going to stretch, and then just an outlier performance against Portland. So this would probably be a core play if we knew Beverly was out and this line stayed at 7.5. But look at these numbers. These numbers are still 8 and 9. So even if it went up to 8, I'd love it. 8.5, I'd probably still take it. We're going against the Lakers defense. So there's the line probably doesn't move that dramatically to correct to where it should be. So yes, if we do lose Patrick Beverly, I'm all about some D'Angelo Russell assist prop tonight. I would assume Beverly's closer to in than out, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so with that said, there's one other prop that maybe I could get on. So if only on one condition. So if Naz Reid is out again, and especially if Vanderbilt's out again, because McDaniels is already out. I mean, he's gonna be out for a long time now. I noticed the rotation that Cat. You remember we've always looked at Cat's first half run, and it's always been pretty weird and not that many minutes. But in that last game with Naz Reid out, Naz Reid usually makes that long second quarter stint. But since Naz Reid didn't play, Cat played over 20 minutes in the first half. If we get Cat over 20 minutes again in the first half against the Lakers, like, we have to get on one of these props, right? Like the 13.5 point, I would assume, or maybe even as it's juice, but maybe even as 25 fantasy point.
Yes, I would like it, but I would probably still just want to throw a blanket on the full game. 25 is kind of up there. Like, that's half a 50 bomb in the first inning.
That's high, but the 13.5 points, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I agree with that. The 13.5 points is live almost no matter what. And then, if we lose Naz Reid and Vanderbilt, I'm in on that. And his per minute production without those two definitely goes up. His peripherals go up as well, more rebound potential. So I'm with you on the thought. I don't think I get to it as a core play. Just because one of these games, Anthony Edwards is not going to score 5, and he's going to blow up. And then you can get away with some stuff against the Lakers in terms of playing small ball. So I don't know that like Torrin Prince or somebody like that would stretch out, but against LeBron, you can get away with a couple of weird lineups and not have to truly sell out for a true center. So something to keep an eye on. Definitely the T-Wolves injury news and notes are something I'm going to be looking for. Vanderbilt, Naz Reid are two big parts of my DFS process tonight, because if those guys are out, we dramatically increase the potential for Cat in terms of defensively. And we also, Vanderbilt represents a strong defender for the T-Wolves. One of their, him and Beverly, I think, are their strongest starting defenders. And that would kind of increase the potential for the Lakers to keep this game close, because right now I have low expectations. Lowered expectations.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, they've let us down numerous times, so.
Yeah, for sure. 32 likes, 120. Man, that doesn't add up. Are the PrizePicks viewers about to get rolled by the DFS viewers? Come on, man. The DFS crew brought the likes last stream. I'm just saying, man. You guys can do better. You guys can do better. Later on tonight, we also have the Thunder and the Spurs. I feel like this is kind of an untouchable spot until we have definitive news on SGA, so we'll skip that. Bulls at the Jazz. Jazz will be without Bojan Bogdanovic, Trent Forrest, and Daniel House. So that wing spot could be a carousel when it comes to Rudy Gay, Jordan Clarkson, Eric Pascal, NAW maybe. So I do like the thought of that. And then just generally speaking on the season, Bojan Bogdanovic, what does he represent and what does that open up for us? Well, Bojan could be double-digit shot attempts, 16, 14, 11, 19, more than half of them from behind the arc. And the Utah Jazz, their team mentality is to shoot threes. That kind of gets lost in translation, but Utah scores via the three ball more than any other team in the league. So Bojan is a big piece that needs to be replaced. And if they replace that with like a Rudy Gay or NAW or something like that, I still don't think they're gonna abandon their what they train every day and chuck threes. And they didn't do that against Milwaukee. And Milwaukee was like the perfect storm because Milwaukee allows the most points via the three ball. But Donovan Mitchell took not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not what? He took 17 threes against the Milwaukee Bucks. Like,
crazy.
It was insane.
I was like before the game, I was like, oh man, I bet he takes 10 to 12 threes and that'd be like a ceiling. He took 17, man. Wow.
It's insane. So without Bojan again, we got a 3.5 3-point prop on Donovan Mitchell. He's clearing 3 of his last 4, and without Bojan, I don't know, man. I guess it's worth doing stat muse. Donovan Mitchell FTP by game log without Bojan Bogdanovic last 10 games.
There's not much sample size because Bojan plays like every game usually.
Yeah, true that player. On this season for threes, we got 5 and 4. And that's all we got this season. In both games, he cleared 3.5. So, yeah, it's hooking it. Uh-oh, what the hook going to be? Hey, yo, I appreciate that sub, Mega Hat 11. So I mean, something that makes sense now. Yeah, Ayu Dosunmu and Alex Caruso. Defensively, that they're going to be pesky and there'll be a problem. But this is literally part of the Utah Jazz playbook. Like, they want to set screens and find the shot. So I kind of like the thought of Donovan Mitchell threes. And then if we wanted to be a little bit safer with it, Donovan Mitchell's usage rate is just generally, that much higher. His shot attempts are going to be that much higher. His point prop's kind of low too, 26 and a half.
He's just not scoring at a high rate lately, man. But he's due. He's definitely due.
Okay. Fantasy point is also low.
Yeah, fantasy point. Yeah, but I mean, the one I'm most intrigued by, and I'm wrestling with between the 3-point prop and this is the 5.5 assist prop. I looked it up. Like, since All-Star break, he has a 33% assist rate. Now, a lot of that is due to some games that Conley has missed due to back-to-backs or just rest. Mm-hmm. But even with Conley playing, he's still assisting at a high rate. I mean, I think 5.5 is just too low of a line for him right now, the way he's playing. It should be around 6.5, like the way Devin Booker is right now.
Yeah. Since February 1, a 36% usage rate with Bojan off the court, 26% assist rate, over 1.1 PrizePicks fantasy points per minute. So you feel like there's something there for Donovan Mitchell to go out there and grab. The fantasy point projection in my model has him at 47, so that's a +5. It's reasonable. And I think if you project the Bulls to stay competitive, Zach LaVine is probable, so they're going to be full strength. I like all things Donovan Mitchell. I think it just makes a lot of sense. And then somebody left a comment on our YouTube video this morning that mentioned Rudy Gobert's success against Vucevic long-term has been really, really good. Put that in the aesthetic. Rudy Gobert, let's go rebounds by game log versus Nikola Vucevic. I don't know, last 15 games. And we don't need necessarily BVP to tell us that Rudy Gobert is one of the best rebounders in all of basketball, and the Bulls suffer in their front court. But Rudy Gobert tonight has a rebound prop of 13, 36 fantasy points as his projection. I have Gobert at 43 fantasy points. So that is a 7-point differential. I don't think 13 is something I woke up out of bed to bet the over on rebounds, but 13 has been essentially his floor in his last 9 games against Vucevic, and we know on the season the Bulls have bled fantasy points to opposing bigs. In that on-off court query, if we put Gobert on the court with Mitchell since February 1, Gobert represents a per-minute production rate in terms of fantasy points on PrizePicks of 1.3. So he actually 1.31 was actually leads the team in those 51 minutes. If we elongate that a little bit, let's go back. Let's just go to the start of the season, October 19th, for Mitchell and Gobert on the court, Bojan off the court in terms of fantasy points per minute. Gobert stays at 1.34. So if you think Gobert's live for 32, 33, 34 minutes, right now I have Gobert at 32 minutes. 32 times 1.34. You do the math. It's probably more than 36, Josh, and that's the line that we have to beat. So I might be on some Gobert 36. Maybe we start doing some research when we get into voice chat on, if we split that in half, first half props or something like that. But 36 is definitely a 7-point differential, something I might get behind.
So you like that more than the rebound prop?
Yeah, 13 is just a lot. Like, I think he is live for, but 13 rebounds dang near get you to 18, 19 fantasy points. Yeah. And he's live for blocks. So you get 2 or 3 blocks, you get those +3s, that becomes 9. So yeah, that it's, I don't know, it's definitely beatable. Definitely beatable. Mm-hmm. And then how are the Bulls in terms of perimeter defense? I imagine their perimeter defense might be skewed right now. But on the season, Chicago has been top 4 against the 3. So if that does move some of the shot volume into the front court a little bit more, just a boost for Gobert, who's not really part of the offense straight up, 5-6 shot attempts a game on a good day. But Bojan being out, maybe it does create a space for him to get you some of those putbacks and whatnot. And then lastly on this slate, we've got Raptors Clippers. We're probably in on that. We do got Bucks and Kings, a surprising 8.5-point spread. I don't know if you like any leans on that game. You do? Okay, what do you got?
Real quick, I know we're running out of time. One of my favorite ones on there is I went through the game logs recently, and Fox has been on this tear recently. I wanted to see what was going on with his rotation. He's taking all the shots and he's playing big minutes. Well, he's playing the majority of his minutes in the first half. He's playing well over 20 minutes in the first half. He's at 12.5 points. If we're worried about a blowout, and we like this game environment for Fox. Like, this is a perfect game environment for him, right? Like a fast paced. The Bucks give it up to guards, and if he can keep up this 3-point shooting that he's improved on so far, then I think that's definitely live. Because I want exposure to Fox, but I'm just scared of this game. And if I like guys who play 20 plus minutes in the first half, if I'm going to do a first half prop.
Okay, so first half, De'Aaron Fox, we're looking at 12.5 real points, 21.5 fantasy points. So you're saying the points?
I'm saying the points just because he's dominating usage and he's gonna chuck it.
Okay.
Are you leaning fantasy point?
No, I mean fantasy points over 20. I think even if he gets 17 real points, he's not guaranteed to break that fantasy point. So I'm in agreement with you. Maybe we can put an aesthetic to Sacramento. Boom. You said he's been playing like 20 minutes in the first half, last couple games.
Yeah.
You see what he's talking about, chat. Just a cup of coffee in the second quarter to start that game against the Nuggets. Look at that first quarter. I think Sabonis was out that game, but still, that guard rotation's been pretty much his and no one else's. The Knicks game, first half rotation for Fox. Yep. 8 minutes or 7.5 minutes second quarter. So 19, 20 minutes. So, yeah, I think that's a good shout. 20 minutes. And, when he's on the court, he's going to lead the team. In usage, there's a little bit of a battle that Sabonis could get some usage too. Sabonis is going to have his hands full. He's going to
be on the bench in foul trouble.
Yeah, he's certainly been very foul prone since being with the Kings and just in general, and crossing paths with not just Giannis, but, hey, Bobby Portis takes a lot of shots. Can maybe get him into foul trouble, and then Brook Lopez has been back for him too as well. So I definitely think it makes sense to kind of lean Fox here. This season, Fox and Sabonis on the court together gives us a De'Aaron Fox usage rate of beep boop boop beep 29%. It's actually higher than Sabonis and a 1.15 fantasy point per minute in PrizePicks scoring. So yeah, I'm with you. I get behind the De'Aaron Fox in that first half list here, and then that's it. Golden State at Boston, we kind of were lukewarm on that. Good defense, somewhat healthy Golden State team. I guess Wiggins' absence or lack thereof, or presence or lack thereof, could shake some things. But I think on the 12-game slate, I don't want to pick on the Celtics if I don't have to. Did you like anything, Giannis, before we get out of here?
Man, yeah, I mean, this is a prime spot for Giannis. That's what you asked, right?
Mm-hmm. 8.5 point spread, 240 total.
Yeah, I'm just nervous. I'm nervous about the blowout, but
yeah, I'm with you. We talked about it on the DFS show. Like, this spread, like in the Book of Gun, probably would have started at like 12.5, 13.5.
Yeah,
it's not like the Bucks are on a back-to-back. It's not like they play tomorrow. So it's like, in my mind, I want to think Budenholzer's resting somebody in Vegas knows something that I don't. But the Kings' defense really, really bad. Bucks' offense really, really good. Like, I just don't understand how it's a single-digit spread. But Vegas been doing this longer than me, so I'm gonna trust them. If we trust him, Giannis is definitely live for 70 fantasy points. He's at 57 right now. I think there's enough value elsewhere than in a parlay approach. I don't think I touch this because I am skittish. But I mean, there's a lot to like here, and 8.5 free throws made against Sabonis and his foulness. I don't know. That's probably I don't know. I guess the fantasy points would be something if I'm losing early on, I got to enter. Yeah. I'll go get some Giannis fantasy points, but that's it, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I would do fantasy as well for him. It seems like it's a fantasy day, right?
Yeah.
I like it because there's so many options in this large slate. I feel like you said, they can't go off the house Vegas line, so maybe we can gain an edge today and go heavy with the fantasy point.
Chat, we got to get in that RunDFS.com VIP Discord, man. It's a big slate. I appreciate you guys joining us on the DFS stream, on this stream, on the early video. To recap some of our favorite ones after doing a little research here: Darius Garland assists, James Harden assists, Trae Young fantasy points, Luka fantasy points, Bruce Brown PRA, Devin Booker fantasy points looks like a top one, and then we'll start ranking them. If you guys are channel members on the YouTube channel, looking at rundfs.com or looking the Gundacker Gaming Discord, free link to that in the description below. It's free to jump in there. Even if you're not a channel member, you can be in there, talk some plays. We'll drop a screenshot of the prop detector 15-20 minutes before the slate locks, so you guys can tell some of what we're on. It's been a lot of green lately. And then we'll be back Friday. Tomorrow, just one game. So just take the day off. It's the Magic and the Pistons. You are third level, seventh prestige levels of degenerate. If you want to make 5-pick flexes on Pistons and Magic tomorrow. But Friday, another big slate, and then we'll have another full slate of content. So any final wise words there, mad scientist?
Yeah, lock and load today, man. This has potential. Let's hope the games stay close and we don't get letdowns or some weird late injury news. But yeah, feeling good about this. One prop I want to shout out before we go, I didn't get to, was DeRozan 4.5 assists. That's the lowest I've seen it. It's been around 5.5. He's cleared 4.5 easily, even with Caruso back. So something to consider in your back pocket.
We're headed to that premium voice chat in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP Discord. Go to RunDFS.com. Try Week Pass, man. See what you think. I'm out, man. I appreciate you guys making a lot of my day be a lot of your day. Tell somebody you love them, because I love you. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money. All of the money, not just some of it. Literally all of it.